With the new leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, I guess the first thing to do would be to say congratulations on the new job.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor.
How long was your campaign? How long were you running at this? How long did it take?
Just the 8 months.
Just the 8 months. And have you seen, you've got 5 kids, you've got a wife, you lost your mother in the middle of the campaign. A lot going on for you on the personal side in the middle of it. Tell me about that.
It was difficult. It was difficult on the family. We talked a lot about this as a family, my wife and I, talking about how we could put in that work-life balance and make sure, kids still recognized me when I walked in the door on the weekends. And then losing my mom was tough. She was a big cheerleader of mine, and she always texted me after debates, and we called and chatted. So that was tough. So yeah, a lot going on in the background, but I had a great team working with me, and we did a tremendous job of connecting with Canadians all across the country and getting new people into the party.
You've already heard from your scrum that went on earlier. Media has a lot of questions for you about abortion, about anything social conservative. Are you going to take Canada back to the 1850s?
Well, look, I know there's certain some media outlets that like to focus on that, and of course the Liberals will be trying to raise those issues. I've made it very clear that I think 2 things. First of all, it's very important that every kind of conservative has a home in our party and understands that they have the right to speak out and hold those positions. And the intolerance of the left, I think, frustrates a lot of Canadians, that you can't even have a conversation about some of these things without being labeled hateful things. And that being said, I do believe that there are some issues that would divide our caucus and would divide Canadians in a way that would prevent us from earning back the trust in 2019. So I've made it very clear under my leadership I won't open up debates on certain issues that I believe would do that. It's my job to encourage members of Parliament to focus on the issues that bring us together and create that party unity.
Okay, but I've known you a long time. You are personally pro-life. You were elected, not solely, but you had a lot of pro-life support. If someone comes up with a bill that can be unifying, that most Canadians can get behind, and you know the issues as well as I do. There are certain aspects on these life issues that Canadians are behind, even if the media and the other political parties are not. Are you saying this just can't be done?
No, I think you are right in the respect that there are a lot of aspects of issues that social conservatives care about that do unite our caucus. We had a great message around conscience rights for the euthanasia bill. We don't believe, the vast majority of our members don't believe that the Liberals went far enough to protect the rights of medical practitioners when it comes to performing assisted suicides. Whether it's family-friendly tax cuts. One of my proposals is to remove taxes from mat leave and paternity leave when people have children. That's a family-friendly policy that brings our caucus together. So my job as leader is to say to every member of our caucus, no matter what the position is, whether it's social conservative or a libertarian in our caucus, or is to find those issues that bring us together that we can agree on.
It's the 80% friend is not my 20% enemy rule.
The illustration I try to use is if we had 2 sheets of paper, and on one you put all the things that we disagree on, and on the other you put all the things that we do agree on, which list would you like to work on first? I'd like to work on this list. We can get some things done. We can win some elections and implement our agenda. And one thing I have come to believe very, very quickly since 2015 is that it's bad for every kind of conservative when Justin Trudeau is Prime Minister.
You have said that you don't want to allow Justin Trudeau to do to your children what his father did to you in your generation. Expand on that. What do you mean by that?
Well, when you look at the percentage of take-home pay that goes to pay taxes, and then look and see how much of that tax dollar goes to service the debt that Pierre Trudeau racked up. I mean, the record debts, explosive debts that we've been laboring under since then. Now we're seeing, Trudeau 2.0 do the exact same thing. And I don't want to let that happen. It's not fair. It's not just. It's intergenerational theft to tell my kids and yours that they're going to have to work even harder, work a little bit longer, have a little bit less take-home pay because some prime minister from days gone by decided to leave a legacy of debt. You wouldn't leave your kids with credit card bills. Why are we allowing our prime minister to do that to our kids?
Okay, fair point. Speaking of kids, though, university, you brought out a proposal that was described as radical in saying that you want universities to uphold freedom of speech or no federal funding. That was, denounced. It was, horrible. You can't do that. Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are coming up with a plan that says if you don't have the right kind of diversity in your appointments, you won't get federal funding. It's gotten a pass. Do you feel like you're going to have an uphill battle in a media war going forward to take on Justin Trudeau come 2019?
I don't, because I think the Liberals are very out of touch on this. And I think there are some analysts who are out of touch as well. I think universities should be safe spaces for debate. for conversations.
Not safe spaces just for people to color, but to have a debate.
Not just hug zones and things like that. It's important that students feel safe on campus, but it's also important that their views are challenged and that they have the right to challenge their professors and that their professors have the right to challenge them. That's what universities were created for. When you think back to the history of universities, it was the place where established orthodoxy could be challenged. And what's disturbing to me is that there are some who do think that it's radical to defend free speech on campus. I mean, I hope to goodness that Canadian society hasn't got to that point, and I do believe very firmly that no matter what position the vast majority of Canadians may hold on certain issues, they believe very firmly in your right to have a position and anybody else's right to have a position and to articulate that and fight for what they believe in.
You're going up against Justin Trudeau in 2019 now. He keeps being described as a young man. I object to that because I'm a middle-aged man and he and I are the same age. You're younger than both of us. Are you the young guy on the scene now? And what does that mean?
Well, I do think it's time, after 2 years of the Trudeau Liberals, to have a new generation take over, and finally someone who can speak to my generation and fight for the issues that are important to people my age and those younger. But, the lie of the left and the lie of the Liberals has always been that the very people they claim to help and represent are hurt the most by their policy. Do you know who suffers the most from higher payroll taxes that the Liberals are bringing in? Young people, new entrants into the workforce. Because when companies have to reduce their workforce, when they cut back on hours, when they have to, invest in alternatives to hiring people, the first people who lose their job are young people. So the Liberals always hurt the people they claim to help, and young people are no exception. And the Conservative Party has a much more compelling message of hope and opportunity for young people.
The first thing from the Liberals on you winning was he's just going to help the 1%, and they're painting you as out to help the rich and not people at the bottom.
Look, I did not inherit a trust fund. I don't have a BMW or Mercedes worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I grew up in a very middle-class family. We didn't own a car growing up, never mind a fancy car. I know what it's like to work hard and grow up in that type of an environment. The policies I put forward will benefit all Canadians. Taking the GST and HST off of home heating and electricity will help every single Canadian family. Lowering taxes, making maternity leave tax-free will help every kind of family. So the policies I put forward, the types of things that Conservatives fight for, helps all Canadians. The difference between the Liberals and Conservatives is that we don't try to pull people down. We are not the party of envy. We don't look at somebody else or a group of people and say, hey, let's tear them down, and then ignore the fact that in so doing, we hurt all Canadians. Every income level is hurt when the Liberals are in power. That's the message that the Conservatives have to connect with people.
You've got a caucus meeting on Monday morning. It was a tight race, 50.95% to 49.05%. How do you bridge the divide?
Well, I think there's a huge interest in our caucus to get together. Every leadership race will, create some different factions, and people will pick a horse and work on a campaign. The job now is, especially for me, is to say, look, Maxime ran a great race. He's a man of integrity, and he works very hard for the issues he believes in. Let's take the best of his ideas, the best of Chris Alexander's, of Andrew Saxton's, of Lisa Rates. All the different candidates. Let's concentrate on those things that we can agree on and work towards winning in 2019.
Andrew Scheer, thank you and congratulations once again.
Appreciate that.
If you like the Rebel video you just watched, make sure you click on our YouTube channel to subscribe, and hey, consider supporting our journalism, the questions, the stories you won't find anywhere else.